created everything. Look what a powerful being you are. You did these things, but now you're in a human body, you forget the power you have.
Welcome to Metamystics, where you don't know what you don't know. My name's Jonathan, and today we have Joe Federico. What it do, my dude?
How's it going? Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I feel like we've been trying to set this one up for a few months now, and just, you know, the calendars and the schedules can never really
all
align.
in due time.
I'll take credit for that one. But
yeah.
so you have actually helped me get some like an awesome guest on here, and he loved talking about the Pleiadians. Some people love it. Some people are like, I don't know. But it does seem to resonate. You know,
yeah, it does. It's great conversation.
What are your thoughts on all that?
As time marches on, to put it lightly, for now, I believe more and more. I believe we're not the only beings out there. I've had several experiences myself in other realms, which we can get into, which we talked about, you know, in the email exchanges in the green rooms. But I would say, in regards to Harrison Vyers Newberry, the man, the legend himself, he has a lot of experience, you know, over 40 years of experiences. And not all of it can be just made up and put into a book, right? So that's my say on it for now.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm always open to this kind of information because we truly, I mean, just like the slogan of the show, we really have no idea what we don't know. Like, honestly, there are I don't even know, dude. There could be like alien Barbies out there for all I know. Like, there's no way unless they show themselves. I mean, but the thing about the Pleiadian stuff is that it seems that most of that information does seem to come through channeling. And I'm a believer in channeling. I absolutely believe that channeling, it can be a real thing. And I'm actually really looking forward to the conversation whenever we get Harrison and my buddy Electro Nick on, because they're both up the Pleiadian alley. And I just find it so fascinating because, you know, the whole Galactic Federation story, them versus the reptilians, I could see there being some kind of intergalactic war. If we do it, why wouldn't they do it? It's as above, so below, I believe. Yeah. Right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So it sounds like it could be. I'm just somebody to where even people that I trust, if I have a hard time just trusting people's word. It's not that I don't trust the person. It's that in order for me to believe, like, I can't blindly believe anything. I have to experience it to know that it's real.
Me too. And research it, do your homework, study, and make your own decision, you know, or come to your own conclusion. You know, that's how I work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, and I mean, I've had psychedelic experiences with the Elohim and the Lyran beings. And so I'm like, all right, so to me, I'm not going to sit here and try to prove to everybody else that cat people are walking around, but that's my experience, you know? And so I'm sure that it can be frustrating for somebody who actually has experienced that, and they're being looked at as like crazy people. So I totally, I want to try and remain open, but never sure, you know?
But it's about connecting with like-minded people, right? Doing the homework, building community, having these larger conversations. In my opinion, what I've seen that works, and not just going or leading people blindly through social media or other platforms and saying, this is the only way. This can't be the only way. There are probably millions of other ways, you know, and let's have a meeting of the minds, quite literally, to have these conversations.
Yeah, I get really weird whenever people start bringing, like, branching aliens with politics. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that, because I don't want anything to do with politics. Why would I expect an off-world entity, like, willingly working with the government? Because in my experience, you know, I did a conspiracy show for over 5 years. And,
oh no, I've done my homework. I know.
and I'm like, if they're working with our government, I'm giving them half the blame. You know, because our government has fucked us over 6 ways to Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Mhm.
I mean, in any
Yeah.
way that you can imagine, it's out there, dude. Even things like food stamps or like free housing and stuff like that. They do it for a psychological reason. It's to get you to depend on big daddy government, and so that
On
you
the
will
system.
constantly be sucking
Yeah.
off the teat of it. And
Yeah, it's
and
true.
I don't have no problem
It's
with people getting food stamps by any means, but
no,
I think
no.
that what they're trying to do is prove to the people that they're incapable of doing it, that they need the government. Because if you need the government, then you're never going to rebel against the government.
It's all by design.
Yes.
It's woven into the fabric of this country. So
Yeah.
I'll leave that there for now.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, there ain't going to be no revolution. I'll tell you that.
But I am ready to fight. I love history too, but it's repeating itself. So
It
yeah,
always seems to do that. It's just
yeah,
like,
because we just don't learn as a society.
well, I mean, whenever they're
No,
erasing the history books, how can we possibly learn? And that's kind of how I
and they're
look at it.
telling us that they're erasing the history books
Oh,
now.
I mean, they're erasing, I mean, forget history. They're erasing shit from 6 months ago. I mean,
Yeah,
whenever you can go on the internet and you can't find old articles that you did research on. Like I
yeah.
said, I've been doing, podcasting for quite a long time. I
Hmm.
guarantee you, if I went back and tried to look at all of those articles from all the different research that I've done, I probably wouldn't be able to find half of
John,
them.
that's why everyone, especially the younger kids, the younger generations, are reverting back to a simpler place in time. They're telling us to, get the videotapes and buy the books and, get old equipment because there's a resurgence, but it's larger than that. Yeah. Which I completely agree with. And I want to go back to a simpler place in time, even though my job is PR and social media, but that can be evolved too, right? So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, if we were to go back much longer than 20 years, I would be out of a job. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
podcasting hasn't
Pivot,
been around that long.
pivot. Anyway, yeah.
But yeah, so just out of curiosity, how did you get linked up with people like that? Like trying to talk about the Pleiadian stuff like Harrison Vyers Newberry. How do you get hooked up with somebody like that?
Yeah, so as I said, full transparency, I'm always an open book. It's really through community building, through people that have worked with me in the past or current clients. Actually, my current client, Kara, is Harrison's uh, doctor, and she suggested that I connect with him because he needed help with his book. And I connected with him. I fell in love with him. He called me, calls me his best friend. We talk, 3, 4 times a day. And beyond just working together on his PR social media is like, I want to learn from him. And he understands that I understand, right? So it started off like he was trying to fill me out, not only what I did as as a professional, um, but I wanted to learn more and hear more and translate that into how that would work in selling his work, but also connecting him with people like you, other podcasters, other magazines to get the word out about what he's doing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and he tried doing that with me. Before we even had a show, he's like, "Can I call you? I just want to make sure like you're not going to be looking at me like I have like
I
10
remember
eyeballs."
that conversation because I was telling him just like go on a date with Jonathan, have a conversation, and like, feel each other out. And it worked because you've had him on twice,
Oh yeah,
which is amazing. And thank you for that, by the way.
of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, I plan on having him on at least 10 more times just
Oh yeah,
because.
no, we are preparing for the next one, trust me.
Oh, I mean, it is just such a wealth of information.
Yeah, he is.
And
He is.
that kind of stuff. There's something to be said for whenever you come across such literal alien information. And then it resonates inside. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everybody resonates with something, right? I mean, how many different religions are there in the world, right? But at the same time, I'm like, man, there has to be some level, at least some level of truth to it if it resonates. Why? Like, that's the dividing factor for me. That's
Beyond social media. Like there's actually, outside conversations occurring. Yes.
yeah, yeah. So I do love those kind of conversations though. And whenever people, I mean, you can tell he's just so damn passionate about it too. Like that is his life, talking about the Pleiadians and the 5D Earth coming, and And that's the thing, is that even
Yeah.
beyond the Pleiadian stuff, people for decades, even longer, I believe even the Bible talks about a new earth, or a new world, right? But for
Yeah.
so long, people have talked about how there's going to be a new earth or a new world or a higher dimension of a new world or a higher density of a new world. And I'm not gonna lie, I used to think like, I mean, that's a fun belief, but the longer I go and the more information that I study on this, the more it starts to make sense that through the lens that I look through, I believe that the world is constantly evolving as your conscious awareness evolves. Like, I think that it's something
And you
along those
become
lines.
more awake, more aware of it. That's what I've experienced myself.
Mm-hmm.
100% years ago. So I would like to get into that with you,
Please,
as
yeah.
well. But that, yes. So short answer, yes, and I completely agree with that. 100%.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. Sometimes
Yeah.
I throw out wild theories and I just hope something sticks. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
no crickets here, my friends. No, because I've actually felt it through my body. Yeah,
yeah, and,
which
and
is
what's
wild.
and what's strange is that where you feel kind of lost with a lot of it is that there are people that are not even close to waking up. Like, they are so far succumbed into the material world one way or another that you literally can't imagine this person having an awakening, right? Like, you've
But
met people like that.
that's also by design.
You think so?
100%. I've seen it. I'm still seeing it with people. Yeah.
By
I'm no
design.
like shaman by any means. I'm just a marketing maven, right? But I have experienced that as well. Yes.
By design, what do you mean by design?
As you were saying earlier, the system was put in place to keep us all silent, dependent on local governments or national and international governments.
Right.
Because it's not just happening here in the States, it's happening across the world.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
But we
and
just have to keep on reading outside sources, right? And not depending on the news to get our information.
yeah.
So I firmly believe we've been silenced, not in a scary way, like a woo woo, but most people won't wake up, and I firmly believe that, unfortunately, and I'm hoping and praying that enough people wake up to actually change the world somehow. Not like this Great Ascension, right? Like the Leftovers was a wonderful show, by the way, about this whole population just poof, they're gone one morning. Not like that, not physically, but emotionally, and raising our consciousness, raising our vibrations. It will be a beautiful thing. I don't know where that came from, but I get downloads like that too once in a while. So a few things may pop up that I'll throw you for a loop for
Hey.
during this conversation.
Bring the weirdness. And look,
Yeah.
I totally agree. I do believe that, that it was kind of scripted that way. I didn't know exactly which way you were coming from. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
in full agreement that the government, the school system, religions, everything, from the food to the water, all the
Yeah.
all the bullshit has, for some reason or another, has purposely done everything that it possibly can to get almost to send you a subtle suggestion that there's nothing outside of the system that we already built.
Exactly.
And that's I
But it's
fully
been like
agree.
that. Just take politics, for instance, right? Like, historically speaking, it's been like that for centuries.
Yeah, it has.
And that hasn't changed. So take that times the other things that you just were talking about, right? The food, the water, the educational system.
Well, and the thing is,
there's a pattern there,
oh yeah, dude. And then you look and there have been certain, I guess off the cuff religious groups that didn't quite make it because maybe they sparked some kind of awakening amongst others. I mean, look no further than the Cathars of Eastern Europe, whenever they were basically taken out by the Catholics because they were into the Gnosticism, right? And in that kind of way. Meanwhile, they're literally living exactly how Jesus would have. literally step by step. But since
Mhm.
it had nothing to do with what Paul suggested after Jesus died, I don't know. Don't even get me started on that whole thing. But and then
I will
they
tell you, sidebar, speaking of that, I did go to Rome years ago, like 2003, 4, and we had an audience with the Pope, and it was John Paul at the time, and it was in St. Peter's Square. And, we got those booklets, right? And all different English, Spanish, and French, and German, and, all languages. I followed along in different languages the entire Mass, just FYI. And I can't explain how I understood different languages in which I wasn't fluent in
oh,
when the Pope was speaking in Rome in 2003. I swear.
what
So if you
is
want to talk about Jesus, I was actually raised Catholic. So I have a lot to say about that too.
I'm sorry to hear that, but
Yeah. I'm spiritual, now, but explain something like that, having no background in those languages. So
well, and I think that there's something to say for certain languages. It's almost like there are certain languages out there that almost resonate at a certain frequency. If you
Mhm.
look like what are they like Hebrew and Latin and
Yes,
Italian, there's a song to it. It feels like, like there's it's not all broken up
they're
like
ancient
English.
languages. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. English, I mean, it's not even our like national language. It has never been declared. So that's a whole different conversation though.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I would love to hear about your awakening process, sir. How
My
did that come
awakening.
about?
Yeah, so like that whole Jesus St. Peter Basilica thing was kind of the start of it. And I'm like, oh, this is weird, Okay. And I really wanted to go to the Coliseum. The whole time we couldn't go. It was raining or the tours had stopped. And I was like, all I want to do, my soul wants to go see the Coliseum. Can we just go? So that was like the tip of the iceberg in a sense, years and years and years ago. And I have had, other experiences speaking with the dead, um, dreams, so forth and so on, which we can get into as well. But my awakening per se that was really scary but really peaceful and really frustrating was in 2022, and I had just really kind of launched my business, and I was doing in-person meetings and traveling across the country for my clients, creating content, going on airboats and going in the mangrove tunnels. And this happened to be in the Everglades of Florida of July 2022. And I was fighting imposter syndrome, my friend, like nobody's business. Why did they hire me? They're paying me so much money. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm going to get fired. I won't get home for some reason. And the plane, my head was going a mile a minute. And my clients had taken me to the mangrove tunnels. And I was on a canoe, and I had shared a canoe with one of my coworkers that had worked with my clients at their restaurant. They have a mid-century modern motel marina and a Cuban cafe, and been with them from day one. With their email marketing and their campaigns, and really getting to know them from the ground up, and I love that. But I had never been to the Everglades. I'm thinking it's like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, right? I don't know what to expect. Snakes and gators. And I did encounter a gator, by the way, a 10-foot bull that was right behind my boat that didn't move. He was in the shade hanging out. Really cool experience, but maybe it was a sign. And I had spent the entire day in these mangrove tunnels where the ancient Indians would hunt and gather and, just swing through trees and just be these ancient people that, were the original settlers of that part of Florida. And I remember going out of the mangrove tunnels, and we were having like oranges was the only food that we brought for some reason. These little clementines, and I didn't want to eat it. I'm thinking I'm fine. I'm gonna hydrate. I'm okay. And we're joking around with my coworkers and taking pictures, and I'm recording video. And again, I'm thinking, what is my purpose in life? I had one of those moments. Why am I here? I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I shouldn't be in a boat. I don't go on adventures like this. I go to my town pool. I hike maybe once in a while. This is not for me. And I felt the spiritualism of the swamps almost enter my body, enter and go through it. And I'm thinking, this is really strange. I'm feeling really empowered. I'm dehydrated. Maybe I'm having like a religious experience or an out of body experience. So I get through that week in Florida. And it's wonderful. I met people from France, from Germany, from Japan, um, tasted things I never tasted before, just to be on vacation, but to really work my ass off and prove to myself that I can do it, but also to be invited back to make my money from, as my income. So I step off the plane, and this is Newark Airport, and my partner picks me up, and he's like, "How was your trip?" I was excited to see him. And I said, honestly, like, it was okay. And he's like, "What do you mean you're okay? What do you mean you went on the trip of a lifetime?" And I said, "Yeah, but I'm freaking out." And I felt like I was being split in two. My soul, my body, spiritually, physically, that my body was vibrating on two different levels. I never felt that way before. And it lasted about maybe 3-4 weeks, where I felt like my old life was being left behind. My new life was calling me. I was, you know, walking that tightrope between two worlds, and I didn't belong in either one of them. So I spoke to my spiritualist. I said, "What's going on with me?" She said, "You were in the mangrove tunnels in the Everglades of Florida, right?" I said, "Yes." She said, "You had a spiritual awakening. Something was calling out to you in the ancient mangrove tunnels of the Everglades." And I feel like my old self, a part of me died out there.
Oh,
A part of me just, I don't know, I drowned, I got in trouble, something happened. I came home, and what was left was the new version of me that was dying to get out. And I didn't know how to handle that. So that was the start of my awakening, per se, in the realm of spirituality, in the realm of learning how to become a new, human being. I had lost weight. I was becoming a life coach at the time, and I was starting my own business. And that was the culmination of how I was feeling after I got back from Florida.
oh man, and it's
Yeah.
so interesting the way you were able to describe that, and you're talking about being out basically in the swamps of Florida,
Yeah.
and it just got me thinking like there's so many ancient stories about people who awaken or have some kind of awakening out in the wild. There's just
Mhm.
something primal about an awakening out there. It's like
It was so primal. Dude, what I tell you, you had to navigate through these narrow tunnels in a canoe. And this is not like a little canoe. It's like one of those plastic ones, right? That's durable. But it was about like a 6, 7, 10 foot canoe per person, one person at a time. It was like a single file type of situation. And you had to grab onto these trees like monkeys and maneuver around different, you know, vegetation and animals. And I had never been in that kind of situation. I was thrust, almost being forced into learning who I really am and what I was made of, in order to come face to face with who I really am, or who I wasn't. It was a sink or swim kind of situation, and it was really scary. Not the physical sense, but like, am I experiencing something out of like an out of body experience? And I did.
oh
I
man,
did.
you were naked in the garden. That's what was going
I
on.
was, and it was like it was like another world. It was truly like another world for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, us living in the modern day with air conditioning and, all these different screens all the way around us, all of the blue light emitting from literally everything that gives off any kind of light except for the sun, which does give off blue light, but, at least
Yeah.
a fair one. Um, it's so easy to become separated from nature and the wild and the woods and all the
Yeah.
mosquitoes and the gators and the frogs and all these different birds and everything, right? And it
Yeah.
almost feels like there's there's us and then there's nature. It's like two totally different realities. And so
It is.
if whenever you go out there and maybe you're not accustomed to being out in the wild, you're there there's some kind of something that has to wake up within you in order to be able to survive out in that,
Yeah.
you know?
And it was for hours. It was hours because we went one way and then we went the other way. And that was through the mangrove tunnels. And it wasn't a loop. It was you went in and you have to come out. And that was the last one. And I had a guide, of course. Luckily, otherwise I don't know how I would have gotten through
Yeah.
that. I mean, I would have, because I'm a survivor, you know, but we had to even pull apart our oars and navigate with one panel like the Calusa Indians of ancient times going through those tunnels. And I'll never do it again, but I'll never forget it either. So
That's how I
yeah,
feel about DMT. I feel you.
yeah.
It was
Seriously
fun.
though, I recommend doing something like that at least once, like a once in a lifetime
Oh yeah.
excursion. Yeah,
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. And I mean, just out of curiosity, what was going through your mind that sparked this awakening? Were you able to perceive things a little bit differently? Like in your mind,
Yeah.
what quantified
No, I
it as
did.
somewhat of an awakening?
It was like another sense. I awakened in many senses, but I came back and I went camping with my family and I was working on different projects and my view on life definitely expanded and I could taste things cleaner, if that makes sense. I saw trees actually breathing in the sky. I actually felt the sun warmer on my skin. Like my senses were certainly heightened after that experience as well.
Man,
Yeah.
that's kind of what trips me out about people who say that we are not from Earth. And whenever I believe that whenever they say we, they mean
Mhm.
humans. Maybe not
Mm.
necessarily the soul or the spirit, but the human animal, I believe, is probably from here. What do you?
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, there's all the different kind of medicines in the wild. We can survive here off of fruit and vegetables and meat and pretty much anything. There's so many different medicines that are abundant in nature that can cure
Sure.
basically whatever ails you. I
Yeah.
mean, to me, it's like we're too compatible. We're too compatible with or compatible. Am I fucking that word up? It sounds wrong.
Combative? Yeah, combative. Yeah.
Whatever the word,
Yeah, whatever.
it makes sense that we would be from here, our bodies anyway. What are your thoughts on that?
I firmly believe in evolution and I've studied it. So yes,
Interesting. Okay.
but the soul is not.
Okay. I couldn't agree more. And actually,
We are the physical beings. The soul is otherworldly.
oh
And I
yeah, dude.
firmly believe that too.
It's
Because
older than the earth.
we're also stardust. I mean, we're flying around on a rock in space, right? So
Fucking rocket
we are
man.
physical, but there's more to it but also I've experienced, I've communicated with that other side of things too.
What are your thoughts? I've always been very interested in evolution. I know a lot of people, religious people for sure, don't get down with evolution because they believe that God created us. And I'm like, okay, well, I
It goes
mean,
against their teachings, and I'm okay with that too. Just don't force it on me.
sure. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But in my mind, I'm like, I mean, you can clearly see there's some kind of evolution going on. And we're talking
Sure.
about the human. Like, people identify too much as being a human. This is just the vehicle we're in, dude. Like, right now, I drive a 2003 Ford Ranger. If that car crashes, I still exist. You know,
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
divine I will still exist. That's kind of how I see these bodies. They are our temporary temples. And which I guess you can almost put temple and temporary in the same sentence. But
There are
um,
meat suits, right? So yes, study it and take care of it, nourish it, right? But there's so much more to us than our physical beings.
Oh,
So
I mean, just the fact that we all have, our own subjective experience. That's one thing that I believe that will be very hard to explain away almost like scientifically is
mhm,
subjective experiences. Because
sure,
you can have 10 people watch a car crash and they're all 10. If they were there in real time watching it, almost all 10 will give an entirely different explanation as to what happened.
exactly,
And
exactly.
they all just watched the same thing, but they all experienced it in their own subjective way. And RIP to a real one. My homie Optimistic Banks, he passed a few days after Christmas last year.
Mm,
And I went back actually today because I had that long road trip from Louisiana back to Texas. And I was like, man, I wish I could just hear him talk again because he was a fucking word wizard, dude. Like this guy
yeah,
knew his shit whenever it came to like everything is one thing, and he would break it
yeah,
down in
yeah.
every possible way. And I went back and I listened to 2 episodes. We only had him on for 3. But I went back and listened to the first 2 episodes and I was like, God damn. He goes, there's no such thing as an objective reality. It can't
Mm,
exist.
that's interesting.
There's no 2 people that will ever witness the same thing for every moment of their life. The only thing that exists is subjective reality.
Right.
And I just think that that's one thing that kind of sets it. Maybe that's what sets us apart from the animal kingdom. You see a deer get spooked, they all get spooked, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm sure if there's a impala that's running out, in the grass or whatever in Africa, if there are 10 lions, there's going to be 10 lions hunting that antelope. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Like, or
Sure.
that impala, whatever. And so I think that maybe a subjective experience, I don't know. Maybe that's all there is. Maybe it's only a human thing. I don't know, man. That's where I get really weird about it. But anyway, I was listening to him and man, I just need that kind of stuff in my life, it's especially from such a loved person like him. But yeah, it just
Sure.
really made me reminisce about this whole theory of everything. And what are your thoughts on that? Just real quick. That everything is one thing. Like, do you get down with that?
As in, we're all connected.
As in every pixel of every subjective experience and all material reality and beyond is one thing. That there is no such thing as separation. It's actually it's a hermetic
Yes.
principle, but
Yes. I, again, short answer, yes. I do believe that. There are too many instances that I've experienced that say otherwise.
yeah, I agree. There's just way too many coincidences. Like there's
Way too many.
way too many.
Way too many.
I mean, anybody that
I mean,
doesn't
we're at a point where we can think something and something becomes reality, right? So,
explain that. Like explain the law of attraction. That shouldn't work if this is just material reality. That makes no
I
sense.
mean, I can speak to it from a personal experience that I've had many instances where even from childhood where I thought, oh, I'm destined for greatness because of this, or I want to be here. I want to do that. And sure, in theory, you have to practice it, right? You have to make it become a reality. But there are too many other coincidences where I've thought of something. I was like, I don't want to be here. I want to be here. And within a few days, I was where I thought I would be, right? Or a person came into my life, or I had another experience. Um, so
Yeah.
yes, we're absolutely all connected. Everything's connected. We don't have a choice in that matter. We think we do, but we don't.
Yeah, it's the illusion of free will, it seems like.
Of
But
course, it is.
it's
Everything is predestined.
it's a divine play.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. All right. So back to this whole evolution thing. I want to kind of see what your thoughts are on this. There have been
Yeah.
people, especially like ancient alien people, that like to bring up the idea of, I believe it was, I'm always terrible with numbers, but I believe it was like somewhere around like 12,500 years ago, there were the capping of the telomeres. And
Mhm.
that essentially, I believe, helped expand human consciousness in one way or another. Have you heard of this
Mhm.
before?
I have not.
That it
That I
wasn't,
have not.
because I guess that we have these telomeres and the telomeres will grow gradually over time. But what happened around 12,500 years ago, there was some kind of expanded, like hurried up type of evolution that happened in a very short period of time. And naturally that wouldn't have happened. And so people like to associate that with maybe divine intervention or alien intervention or something along those lines. And that's really the only question I have about evolution in general. Like if that, not to say that I don't vibe with evolution. I don't know what I don't know. But whenever it comes to that kind of stuff, again, this is like Billy Carson kind of stuff. So I never know. I mean, he's out there. He's just trying to make a buck. I'm not going to hate on somebody for that. But I don't know. It's you know what? Let me look that.
Everyone's shoveling something. So no, I understand that. But how about the pyramids like in Egypt? I'm very big into Egyptology. So that I can get down with that if you want to get into that evolution and all their gods and goddesses.
Oh yeah. I would love to hear about it. I personally had a psychedelic experience with the lovely Sekhmet. So I just want to throw that out there.
Okay. I need to hear more about that.
Well,
we need to hear more about that.
I've said this story a few times in the past, but basically I was on a psychedelic and man, it was just a really rough time in my life. And you ever make a big decision and then it's almost like it's not necessarily buyer's remorse, but you're almost looking for outside validation to like validate that you made the right decision.
Yeah.
And I knew that I made the right decision, but for some reason I was going through that process of still caring about what everybody else thought about what I should do. And I was really feeling like, I don't know, like this judgment inside of this trip, right? And I felt really judged for the decision that I made. It could have just been an internal kind of combustion. I have no idea. But I felt like there was like 1,000 fingers that were pointing at me and judging me because it was crazy. It was like the day after I made this big decision is I decided to trip. I don't know why I do these things to myself, but so I did it. And man, I just felt so lonely. I felt so judged. I tried to go lay down and I couldn't go to sleep because of all this, like, these thoughts and emotions running through my mind and through my body. And dude, I was so desperate that I just said, I don't even care who comes here. Please, somebody just tell me what I should do. Tell me if the decision that I'm making, whatever it is. I didn't call anybody. I'm talking about like, if there can be an alien that can show up, if there can be a god, an angel, something interdimensionally, now is the time because I'm opened up, right?
Please, let's have a chat. Let's have a conversation.
I need some kind of confirmation here. And lo and behold, I'm laying down and I feel I couldn't see it initially because my eyes are closed and I'm like trying to fall asleep. But I feel this fucking like cat body laying up against me, but it was like a cat the size of a human. It was like if a cat had human arms and human legs, still a tail and everything, but dude, I felt the body. I felt the warmth up against me. I felt the purring up against me. And it was very like comforting. And, I was Big Spoon at first, and then she switched it up and she made me Little Spoon, and it was strange. And I'm like, I go and like open my eyes because I'm like, all right, if I'm really experiencing this, I feel like I should be able to see it. If I'm tripping,
see some kind of proof. Yeah.
Maybe the veil is thin enough right now for me to get a glimpse of this. And it was so strange because it was like I could see it for a second, and then whenever I tried to focus, it went away. It was almost like I could only see it peripherally, even tripping. And and I could see the colors, and I knew that it was a girl. Like it was
female. Yeah.
There was no talking involved, but I knew that it was a girl. And I remember seeing her face. I remember seeing her body. And it was so strange, dude, because her body felt, this is where it gets extra weird. Because whenever I think about like a cat, goddess out of Egypt, if that's what it was, or if it's a Lyran or whatever the case may be, I would imagine like a biological body, like a meat suit in the way that we see cats and humans. But it wasn't that. It was very like mechanical. It was like, have you ever seen Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yes.
Okay, like animatronic. That's what it felt like. But it was was like an animatronic body, but I knew that there was a soul in it. If
I
that
knew
makes
you were going to
sense.
say that. I knew you were going to say that. Okay. Okay. Okay.
And so, you know, and I feel it purring up against me and everything. And I didn't know who this was. To be honest, I don't even think that I ever even heard of fucking cat people before,
Mhm.
before this whole experience. Maybe in passing, I'm not sure. And to be honest, I probably would have never believed any of this shit in the first place if I had not experienced it, because it sounds woo woo and crazy as fuck.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
I mean, to people like us, it doesn't, but to your
It
average,
doesn't,
you
but
know,
for the
muggle,
outside
but
world, yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I'm having this experience, and then she goes away. And so I didn't know what the hell to make of it. Lo and behold, I end up having a conversation for the first time, you know, maybe a couple of weeks after this whole thing happened, with the great Ronnie Pontiac, who was the understudy to Manly P. Hall, who wrote The Secret Teachings for All Ages.
Wow.
And so I was like, all right, if anybody knows, like, this guy should know, right? He's an encyclopedia of ancient, like, occult stuff, right? And so I asked him, and I was like, I explained to him the whole thing. And then I told him about how I felt kind of weird, because I was like, I felt weird and bad about this, but I felt like weirdly turned on by this cat, dude.
Mhm,
Like, and
mhm.
I don't even know why. It was just
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
fucking primal thing. And I'm not a weird freak or anything like that. Like, I'm not into furries. I know some people like to say I'm not into that shit. No
No
judgment if you
judgment.
are.
No.
That's just not my thing, right? And so I told Ronnie, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you met Sekhmet." And I was like, "Well, okay, continue, please. I would love to hear it." So I
Mhm.
end up doing a bunch of more research and everything, and man, I believe it. I believe that I experienced something otherworldly, other
I'm gonna have to look
dimensionally.
this up after we get off, because now I'm more intrigued, and I firmly believe that
Yeah, it's so weird.
it's energy.
And
It's
he
energy,
even
is what it is.
well, and he even said that's very Sekhmet to be like sexual like that. And
Hmm.
we didn't
Hmm.
do anything. It was just like a, you know, I don't know why. I feel there's warmth. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's the extent of that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, really strange, but that's my only experience with Egyptian things.
Hmm. I well, right now also I feel energy, and I feel things come in and out of rooms, just so you know. And these things usually happen when I'm on podcasts like this. So right now, as crazy as this sounds, an Egyptian male just entered the room and is looking at me recording with you. I just want to let you know.
Let's go. Hey, look, if it's Osiris or anybody big dog like that, look, I didn't mean to bump up against your girl. She came
I
on to
think
me.
it's
I just want to throw it out there.
I think it's Ramses, either Ramses or King Tut. It's like kind of like a the figure's kind of like a smart ass. Like he thinks I'm afraid of him, but I'm not, because he can't touch me. So I've had many experiences like that too, by the way. So something is here now that's ancient Egyptian. Just want to let you know.
Wow. Nothing but respect from this side. Just want to throw that out there. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to slight anything.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
So that is, first of all, I wish that I had that ability to be able to sense like things that are coming in. I feel certain energies from time to time, but
But do you feel them, or do you see them as well?
I rarely see them. Like, I
I
mean,
I don't communicate with them all the time, and I can get into that in a moment of what I have done. But I sense the energy, and then I get this vision in my mind, as if the person or entity is right in front of me, or at least in the same room. So
oh.
that actually happened, started in 2022, after Florida. So Florida, something happened to me in Florida.
So
Yeah,
you're seeing with essentially with your third eye is what you're saying.
correct,
Oh, okay.
correct.
That makes a lot of sense. And that's actually
Yeah,
what a lot of psychics will say too. Like,
yeah.
yeah, I don't, it's not like, you know, a person appearing directly in front of you sometimes. But most of the time you're perceiving with the download of information that is coming into your psyche.
I can see shapes. I don't want to speak to them per se. I've stopped myself from actually communicating and maybe or assisting. And that may change in the future. But right after Florida in 22, I had gone on a road trip to the Carolinas with my partner. That was for about 10 days. We were driving back, and because it was COVID, We don't want to fly anywhere anymore, really, because at that time it was Spirit Airlines, and like rest in peace or not,
R.I.P.
because they're gone now. They were terrible, by the way. I'm kind of glad they're gone. I'm not surprised.
Hey, I like the cheap tickets though. I'll give them that.
They were an experience. Let's put it that way. So on the way back, um, and I met a woman that actually told me to get crystals. She was at my book signing at that year. I had just released my second to last book. I was at a book signing. I had this like psychic, come up to me and ask me questions, and she guided me on certain things because I told her what I had experienced in Florida. So she knew exactly who I was and why I was there at the time. So that was the start. That was like phase B, phase two. And I came home, and we were so close to being home, and we had stopped at McDonald's in Gettysburg.
I love Gettysburg. I've been there
I've
before.
had I've never been there without an experience. I've always had an experience in that city. Um, so the GPS takes us to the McDonald's that we stop at randomly in Gettysburg. And the end of the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance is on the radio, is on
Solid.
our playlist at random. I mean, we didn't put it on. And the end is the like war drums, and there's
Mm-hmm.
the drum solo. And we're driving through a cemetery on the way to this McDonald's. And it was an eerie day, hot and muggy, like about to rain. And we stop at McDonald's, and there's a strange feeling, and we're right across from another battlefield. And there's this big picture window, in the front of this location. So I'm uneasy. We're really hungry. We have to pee. We have to eat. We have to just get ready to, then rest and go home after that part of the trip. And I excuse myself to go to the men's room. I do my thing. I wash my hands. I'm the only one in the restroom. I wash my hands, and there's those little mirrors, the 1970s mirrors, they're kind of cracked and, whatever. And I wash my hands, and I look up, and I'm wearing a crossbody bag. And there's a flash in my eyes, in my face, like a lightning bolt struck my head. And I see myself looking at myself in the past.
Whoa.
Never happened to me before, like this, or ever for that matter. And I'm looking at myself in the Civil War. And I had the chops, and I had like the uniform on. I had the crossbody bag that had my equipment and my gunpowder and my weapons. And I don't think I had a beard at the time, but it was definitely facial hair and the chops and the long hair. And I kind of step back. I'm looking at myself, like this and like this. And the gentleman, I'm looking back at myself, experiencing me looking back at me. And I'm like, okay, Gettysburg, I see you. You know what I mean? So I run back to the food had arrived. My partner got it. We have our cheeseburgers and delicious cholesterol ridden shit and road trip food. And my partner, I'm like white. He's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. We're not going to talk about this. And his back is towards the picture window, and I'm facing this other battlefield. So then out of the corner of my eye, I see a gentleman, a ghost person near the cannon, and he's pulling it up, and he's pushing it, and he's pulling it back up. He's on like a loop. Then my partner's like, seriously, what the fuck? Tell me what's going on. Otherwise we're going to leave. I said, okay, all right, let's just take a moment. I took a sip of my like ice cold Coke, and I said, there's a ghost fighting the battle across the street behind your back. Meanwhile, I'm like eating my cheeseburger, right, with all the onions like falling out of the, like the wrapper. And he's like, okay, like I believe you. And we continue to eat our chicken nuggets, and we, sit there a few more minutes. And I'm having this really uneasy feeling after what happened in the bathroom. Then I'm seeing this ghost with the cannon. I'm like, this is not going to end well. And then As the clouds roll in, I'm seeing these shadow figures, these soldiers, not like the handsome ones in the photos and the textbooks, dead, decrepit, rotting corpses are lining up across the street.
Yeah, that would trip me the fuck out, man.
And on my grandmother's grave, I swear to God, goddess, whoever's listening, they're missing jaws. Their eyes are out. They're bleeding. And they're not making noise, but they're not alive. And they're lining up for blocks. And they're all staring at me.
I mean, I guess I could imagine it. I mean, back in the day, you know, muskets and, you know, like the old school guns and shit. I mean, I'm sure that it's blowing some fucking jaws off.
Staring at me. Blood everywhere, like just, wounds, and not like these handsome soldiers. And they're looking at me. They're all like talking like, "Hey, I know you're in that McDonald's." I'm getting goosebumps. This is, I don't know if you can see, but so my partner's like something's happening, isn't it? I said, "Yep." I said, "We're not going to talk. Get your fucking McDonald's in a bag. We're out of here. I don't want anything to follow us home." So then I tell him what happened in the car as we're trying to, like Scooby Doo, the like, cartoon noise. And we get in the like rental car, and the GPS craps out, and it's taking us around another cemetery, another battlefield, not allowing us out of Gettysburg.
Oh.
That took another 20-25 minutes to get out back to the highway.
Oh, you hear about that all the time. Anytime there's any kind of like paranormal activity like that, the electronics are the first thing to go.
Nothing. It kept on bringing us back to this battlefield. Yeah.
Oh my God. You know, whenever I was in sixth grade. I'm from Pennsylvania originally. That's where I spent. I lived there until I was 16, and so I lived about an hour away from Pittsburgh, and we went on a field trip out to Gettysburg, and it was like a 3-day thing. It was like back whenever field trips used to be awesome. The field trips they do nowadays are bullshit. But whenever I remember growing up, and we had some gangster field trips. And so we went to Gettysburg. We stayed at the Dwight D. Eisenhower Hotel. I'll never forget. And we went to all the museums. We got to walk on the battlefields and stuff like that. And I remember the person that was kind of showing us everything was like, well, you know, some people, they say that whenever we walk on these fields, that they say that they can see a reenactment of the fights out there. And of course, at the time, I had such a broad imagination, right? I mean, especially being, fifth, sixth grader, I'm like, I'm looking for it. Like, I want to see it, you know?
You want to experience it.
But I can imagine if I did, I would probably have reacted in exactly the same way as you. Let's get the fuck in the car and get the fuck out of here, dude.
I don't care if we paid or not. We get in the fucking car. Then we could talk about it when we're at a safe distance. And I didn't want anything following me back. Anything. And nothing did, supposedly. That was that same summer, like after I died in the mangroves. So something happened to me.
Something opened
Something
you
was,
up.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Like, are you happy that you have had this kind of awakening, even though it's kind of scary, maybe puts you on edge from time to time, maybe you feel like your life is in danger, but like, you would rather know than not know, right?
Yes, and I feel like that was predestined. I was supposed to awaken at that time because a lot happened thereafter with family, with friends, with my business, with my weight, with my, with my medical, history. Everything changed at that point. And that was the tipping point that led me to where I am now. And now this is the next phase.
Whoa. Yeah. It feels like, especially whenever you first have a spiritual awakening. And I don't think, like, there are some people out there that they remember the moment they spiritually awoke, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I wish that it maybe came on all at once like that for me, to where I can point out one singular thing that absolutely woke me up. But with this show, and hearing all the different stories and hearing how to do certain things. We talk to magicians and witches and psychics and read a bunch of esoteric knowledge and a bunch of philosophical stuff. And man, I feel like every show that I've done on here, like all bullshit aside, I feel like literally every show I'm awakening a little bit more. And so it's been a gradual process.
Yeah, but that's your calling then too.
Yeah, I think so.
That's part of your evolution, is you're meant to be doing this, building community, sharing these stories, or having, the platform in which people can share.
Yeah.
So I firmly believe that, and that's a little message to you that you're on the right track.
Well, thank you. I mean, there's definitely been certain trigger moments that you're like, all right, that time helped. That time definitely helped. That time, that conversation absolutely woke me up. There's been probably 5 or 6 things that I can point to, and if it wasn't for them, maybe my growth, my spiritual growth might have been stunted a little bit. But yeah, it does feel like it's been gradual. And to be honest, I feel more comfortable that way, to be real with you. Like, I don't know if I could handle all of it coming on me at one time.
Oh no, it sucked.
Yeah.
I was lost when I got back from Florida that first time. I was uncomfortable as shit. I didn't know who I was, what I wanted to do, what my name was, where I wanted to go. It was that part. And in hindsight, I'm happy that it happened, because that led me to where I am now, and everything's working out and things are falling where they need to fall, and whoever, what have you. I'm more open to that now. But when it first happened, it was miserable, and I felt very lost for a very long time.
Was there any piece of you that it's a strange thing, and I've only maybe within the last year have come face to face with it, along with my cousin Sean, who used to be my co-host on the show. But do you ever, in that moment, did it feel like maybe the first legit time that you started to question your own mortality, that maybe this could be the moment, that this could be my final moment kind of thing, and what would happen to me after? Because we've come face to face with that. And man, it's one thing to think about, but it's a whole entire other experience for it to be possible. And then you're almost like, oh shit, all right, well, I mean, if I'm dying, then I got to prepare for what's next kind of thing. Was the Florida trip anywhere like that? Like question immortality kind of situation?
I felt the opposite. This is going to sound crazy. I felt immortal and untouchable after that.
Oh.
It was the exact opposite.
That
is
cooler,
I'm like,
actually.
am I the gay messiah? You know what I mean? I was like, whoa, like I'm changing, like my life is changing, but am I the dude? And that was my mindset for a while shortly after, to be honest. Yeah.
No, I totally get it. I think
I mean, it still may be. No, just kidding. I would never want that to land on my shoulders. But at the time.
I mean, look, I think that we're all kind of living in our own universe and we're acting like we're not. And so I think that everybody's subjective experience, you are the main character in your universe kind of deal. And so
we're our own saviors though, too. You know what I mean? We don't have to look outwards. So I firmly believe through that experience that we are what we're looking for. And we're on that never ending excursion until we hit nirvana. And even that may not be attainable. You know what I mean? So, but I lived a portion of that at the very least that I can speak of. So.
Wow. Yeah. To feel eternal like that. What an interesting thing. I mean, most people are kind of, especially with religion these days. I mean, probably it's always been this way, but I feel like there's a lot of religious folk that kind of join just in case it's real, because of the fear of maybe going to fire and brimstone. And, like Elvis was I believe he was popular. He would wear Jewish things, Christian things, and Muslim things. He's like, hey, I'm just trying to cover all corners here.
Oh, I have that stuff too. I'm not a practitioner, but I love voodoo. I study voodoo. I was raised Catholic. I have all the little statues in my room. I have a little altar to all the different deities that I believe that assist me. So yeah, I believe in that too. It's more fun.
Oh yeah, it's way more fun.
It's
Voodoo.
more fun. It's the macabre, It's like, hmm, is there or isn't there, And I also love to keep people guessing, you know what I mean? So it makes it even more fun.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I feel like throughout my own spiritual like awakening process, I have changed my favorite thing probably 100 times. You
Yeah,
know, like my
yeah,
favorite philosophies, like I love Hermeticism, I love Neoplatonism, I love all of the
yeah,
different ET kind of
yeah.
thoughts and philosophies out there. And I don't know if I necessarily align directly with one of them. I always like to look at it like it's a coexist bumper sticker. Like I like a little bit from here, a little bit from there, and I don't know. I think everybody has their own way of kind of getting to the truth of information. And
That's how life should be.
well, and the interesting thing about the term New Age in general is that it's entirely comprised of ancient things. Like the only thing new about New Age is that people are putting it all together. It's no longer
Yeah.
just these separate tribes or these separate, things going on. People have taken a little bit from there, taking a little bit from there. I'm going to work with crystals. I'm going to sage my house. I'm going to do tarot. You're taking a little bit from everywhere. I include Bible quotes in my philosophy of life.
Yeah.
I'm not a Christian at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's what resonates. I mean, I've saged my house too. I know that there are two sisters living in my house, by the way. I have seen them in past videos, orbs flying around my. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's been confirmed. I mean, I live in it's an apartment building, but it's a house that was converted. Um, this is like a 1907 Victorian home that I live in. So it's old. Shit
Oh
happened
yeah,
here, you
I'm
know?
sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
So
could totally see. And man, I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever lived in a really old house. Like most of the houses that I've lived in, probably the oldest house was like 50 years old or something like that.
yeah, that's new compared to
That's new.
I like the feel of an old house,
Oh yeah.
but I've saged this house several times. Um yeah, just in case all the corners because just you can never be too safe to you know
Yeah, for sure. There's something I referenced that I was listening back to that Optimistic Bank show earlier, and he goes, I like, and he got his name Optimistic because he literally was always very optimistic, but
yeah,
he's a mystic who was optimistic, so it was a fun, play on
like a play
words.
on words. Yeah, yeah.
But one thing he goes, I don't do necessarily, the same thing that everybody else does. Like if I feel that there's, a bad energy or evil presences in somebody's house or in my house, he goes, I won't take my sage and be like, go, be gone, evil spirits. He goes, no, he goes and he said, I light the sage. I go into the corner and say, and he goes, I love you. I forgive you. I love you. I forgive you. And it's just like, oh my God, that why wouldn't you want to be nice to somebody or something that may be terrorizing you because maybe you encroached on, what was theirs first?
Like you don't know what you walked into, you know? Like you don't know. I mean, what would have happened had I stayed in McDonald's and I had a conversation with 100 dead soldiers? I don't know. I didn't want to find out though.
I wonder what would have happened though.
I I stop it there. The only people I've actually allowed to communicate back with me are loved ones, especially on my partner's side. So back that summer, 2022, my partner and I were out at, I'm not going to say which restaurant, but out at a famous restaurant on the water. And we were drinking, and it was our first night there. There's fireworks and like a whole big shebang. I love fireworks, by the way. I'm a big kid, but that's besides the point. So we're getting a little toasty. We're getting drunk on the water. First night, date night. We're gonna just let's go out. And my partner and I start getting into a deeper conversation about family. And oh, this may have been the next year. No, this was 2022. This is the same year everything kind of started for me or evolved for me. And we talk about his stepfather that had just passed away a few months prior. And he wasn't the nicest man to me when I had met him. And I wasn't his best friend, but I knew of him. We crossed paths for a few years, and he had just passed, unfortunately. And um, spirit gentleman, this stepfather walks up to me while we're having drinks at dinner, and I tell my partner, I say, oh, your stepdad's right next to me, and I described exactly what he was wearing. He was chewing tobacco, wearing a white oversized shirt, shorts, his hat, what it looked like, what he was saying to me. And he was telling, I actually heard his voice come through my third eye, my however you want to describe it. And I was translating that back to my partner. I said, oh, here's what your stepfather's saying to you. He's sorry. He was this, he was that. He's making amends. He's explaining what happened in life. And then he went away. And I said, I'm not bullshitting you. That just happened. I can't prove it, but that actually happened to me a few more times. My partner's aunt died a few years ago. She came to me after her services. I was in bed sleeping, and I felt her, and she was whispering through my mind. Um, she was talking to me about like trying to make amends with me, with us. And then actually my mother-in-law's last late husband, the morning he passed away, he came to me at the foot of my bed. I was at my sister-in-law's house down the shore in Galloway Township, New Jersey. And he appeared to me like in those ghost shows, like a flash. And I had a full body apparition in my mind. He was standing there, and he was talking to me too. So I've had a few of those experiences where I actually heard their voice through my mind, through my consciousness, my subconsciousness, whatever you want to explain that to be, or describe that as. And then a few years later, we're with my cousin-in-law, who actually lives in the same town as we do. We partied with her. We could do drunk Saturdays with her, bar hopping and events, and she's just a really lovely cousin. And she's a little bit older than we are. And it was around Halloween time. And we're at her bonfire. We have pizza and chips and music, and everyone leaves, and we stay to have the party inside of her house. And her sons are there. And one was back from West Virginia, I guess, like for the weekend to hang out, drink with us, party with us. And we start talking about one of his fraternity brothers that passed in the past, and he had overdosed. He had gotten too drunk. He had died of one of those, it was one of those stories. And the brothers couldn't save him. So they created this like safety video for pledges about drinking and driving and the safety and how to, survive, basically pledging and how to be safe while you're in the house. And my cousin-in-law's son pauses the YouTube video. And my cousin it's like an open floor plan, and she's kind of in like the dining room area on a rocking chair. And I see this apparition, this full body apparition appear next to her. It's this young man, and he's in like a white towel, like he's in the dorm room, and he has brown hair and red eyeglasses on. And he's looking at me. Not scary, not dead, just a normal young man standing there in the middle of, her house. And I didn't say anything. I felt him. I actually saw him. And I guess, yeah. So her son puts the show back on. And the gentleman's face appears, what he looked like in life. And I said, pause. The same guy that was standing in my cousin's house, his face just appeared on television.
What? Literally, or looked like?
No, like literally, I didn't see what this boy looked like until his face came on screen. he was standing. I had seen him before I even knew what he looked like. Then he popped on screen, and they showed a photo of this young gentleman.
Oh my God.
So he was communicating with me, telling me, I'm good, I'm safe, I'm not anywhere, in danger. But he knew that I was there before I even saw what he looked like.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, dude. That is
yeah,
freaking awesome. I
yeah.
have never been able to see a ghost. I would love to be able to see
Do you
something
really
like that.
want to though?
Well, all right. In
Do
the
you
right
really though?
circumstance. Yeah, I'm not trying to get woken up in the middle of the night by a fucking ghost, but I do find it interesting, and correct me if I'm wrong. Well, I'll tell you this story first. So the very first psychic witch, maybe that's what she called herself. The very first psychic witch that I ever, got a reading from or talked to and really had a deep conversation with, I found it very strange that she like needed to get drunk in order to have a more like clear reading. And this was my
Yes.
first time ever hearing something like this. And she would just get absolutely shit-faced off of some Fireball. And I'm like,
Hmm.
that's interesting, drinking. And
Yeah.
then I'm in the middle of watching this TV show that it's been out for a few years, but I'm just now getting on it because I saw a clip and I was like, give me more of that. It's on Netflix. It's called Lock and Key. It's a
Okay.
really, really good show.
I'll have to check it out.
And so basically in the show, not to spoil it, but everybody under 18 years old has the ability to be able to perceive all these magical things that are going on in this house. But once you turn 18, you lose that ability to be able to see all the magical and apparition, and they have like all these keys that open these doors to other dimensions and stuff like that. It's awesome. But yeah, once you turn 18, you don't have access to that anymore,
Right.
except whenever you drink. And,
Mhm.
their mom started drinking heavy, and then she was able to see exactly all the things that they were doing.
Yeah.
And now you're talking about, a couple of times, I'm not sure if it was every time, but a few times you mentioned your stories, there was alcohol involved. And then as you're telling this story, I'm looking it up. And it does say, while there is no scientific evidence that alcohol grants psychic powers, okay, obviously, many people report feeling more in tune or intuitive while drinking. And this phenomenon is typically attributed to the physiological and psychological changes caused by alcohol, which can mimic the quote unquote open state often associated with psychic practice. And you
Mhm.
feel that works for you as well.
Yes. Not every time. It's when there's a tragic death, it just happens. Like the stepfather or the aunt or the late husband. But in other instances, also in New Orleans, which I can get into if we have time. That's why I had asked if you are familiar with New Orleans,
Oh, yeah, I'm
because
familiar with it. I've been there,
yeah,
I don't know, 100 times.
yeah. I've had an experience every single time that I've been. Every single time that I've been.
Makes sense. I mean, Marie Laveau and all the voodoo stuff that was going on down there
She
back in
came
the
to me
day.
too, by the way. I was on a podcast with the spiritualist. Marie Laveau actually came while I was recording a podcast.
And you saw it, or you saw
Yeah.
her?
No, she came to me while I was recording like this on another person's podcast.
Wow.
Anne Rice came to me. She actually passed away right after I had been in New Orleans in 2021 for Christmas. She came to me. She sat on my couch, and she was like encouraging me. Um, and by the way, I'm in love with her son too. He's an inspiration to me with my writing as well. So yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is, man, that's really something. And so, you know, I guess from the outside looking in, and maybe this may be a little bit, I don't want to say judgmental, but I'm not really a drinker. I mean, if I'm going to get a little, a little fucked up in some kind of way, I like to smoke me a joint.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I guess reality does start to shape a little bit differently whenever you're high, but whenever you're
It does.
drunk, I do see how people could, uh, kind of see these things like you're talking about.
Yeah, I
Because
will tell you. Go ahead.
I
Go
mean,
ahead.
you're kind of going into a trance state. Your vibration is clearly shifting into I don't want to say an alternate dimension, but it's definitely shifting into something that's
You
abnormal.
are You are in like an old alternate dimension, another dimension almost. Because like how I felt physically after I got back from the mangroves, I physically felt straddling two realities. So that something had happened. I think it was, I told you, so part of me had died or something tragic happened in the tunnels. I came back and I was split, cracked open, or healed. I don't know what it was, what it is. But I still have, I mean, right now I told you an ancient Egyptian walked into my house. That doesn't happen to a normal person on a
No.
normal Monday night, you
No,
know?
not at all. Yeah, I almost wonder. We've talked about many of different topics on this show, and one of them is a many worlds interpretation that talks about all the different possible outcomes and parallel universes and multiverses and stuff like that. And another one where essentially, the idea is that if you die in this reality, you just jump into another reality where you are already existing because there's infinite use.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example of this. You ever seen that movie called My Girl with Macaulay Culkin?
I loved that book and movie as a kid.
Oh, love it, loved it, and it had a real impact on me growing up.
It did.
I grew up in a time. Me and Macaulay Culkin are pretty. I don't want to say similar in age. He's probably, I don't know, a few years older than me, but I remember watching all of his movies growing up. He was just like awesome to me.
Yeah.
And so anytime that I saw him on anything, I always thought it was amazing. So I end up seeing My Girl for the first time. And of course, everybody knows he ends up getting attacked by bees and he ends up dying in that movie, right?
He needs his glasses. He needs his glasses.
Oh man, that was fuck. That weighed on me. Like that fucked me up as a little kid. And so anyway, I used to be really into disc golfing, right? And there was this one time I went to go play some disc golf out in the woods, and it's awesome out there. I've probably been out at that field, I don't know, 500 times I would go out there. It was like an every morning thing. And so I throw my disc and I miss badly and it goes off into the woods. So I'm trying to go track it down and everything. And I end up stepping on a fucking hornet's nest. And dude, all of these hornets were just swarming me and fucking me up. Dude, I probably got bit like 25 times at least. And it got to a point where like I took my hat off and I started swatting them away, and then they would start sticking to my hat, and I was like, get off of me. So I just threw my hat, right? And it was I believe it was either a Nike hat or a Steelers hat. I can't remember exactly. I want to say it was a Nike hat. It was just a regular black Nike hat. And so I swatted them away, and I just threw my hat and I said, fuck this, I'm going home. Like, when you get stung, it just pisses you off, at least for me anyway. And so the next day I go back out there and I go back looking for my hat because I like that hat. I wear hats all the time. And so I go back and try and find my hat, and I'm digging through the foliage. I'm digging through the leaves. I can't find it. But what's so interesting, now this is in Baton Rouge that I'm doing this. Okay. Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm trying to find my hat, and lo and behold, I end up finding another hat, dude. And I shit you not. You want to talk about a fucking coincidence out of hell? All right. So a little preface to this. I was born in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Okay. Most people in Arizona have probably never heard of Lake Havasu. Like, it's not super populated. I mean, it's getting a little bit more populated now. They used to have like Girls Gone Wild and shit back there, back in the day.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Love it out there. My parents live out there. I go out there every summer. And so I go back and try and find my hat in Baton Rouge, and I find a Lake Havasu City London Bridge hat in the middle of this foliage where I lost my original hat. I'm like, what are the odds of, first of all, anybody finding this hat, but probably the only person in the entire state of Louisiana that was born in Lake Havasu. And I never found my original hat. That was the only hat that was there. So I've explained this to people in the past, and they say, maybe you died with all of those bees, and then your consciousness jumped to another version of reality, into
another timeline
where you actually dropped your Lake Havasu City hat. And I'm gonna be real with you, I kind of believe it, because the odds of that happening are literally slim to none.
And your other hat you were wearing, the other you was wearing, was gone.
Gone. Yeah, there was no trace of it.
No. that that happened to you. That most likely happened to you. Yeah.
All right, all right. You know, you talk to a muggle about this kind of shit, they think you're crazy. You know
They
what I
were
mean?
like, okay, sure, Jan. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Have
have
another
so many
glass of wine,
stories. I have
buddy.
so many stories. Huh?
It's like have another glass of wine there, buddy.
Sure, sure, sir. Um, my first experience in New Orleans, 2014, my first trip. And I actually that was another life changing moment for me too. I came back. I had just left my job like a few days before New Orleans. I had X amount of money in the bank. I was going to go anyway. I wound up coming back with $200 in my bank account. I was piss poor when I got back. No regrets, no consequences either. And we were staying at the Maison du Puy in the French Quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And we learned it was like one of those old buildings, an old grain house or something. The whole building was like a fortress. Yada yada yada. I love shit like that.
I think that's the one that's like right across from the French Market, I believe, right? Like over
Um,
by the
it's
beignet
not
place.
far away. It's more towards the American side. So
Yeah.
it's yeah. So wonderful experience, of course. No, no, no. I'm sorry. This was 2018. I'm sorry. We went in 14, 18, 21, 23. This was 2018. And I forgot something. We were out all day drinking, going to Pirates Alley and this, the whole shebang. First night, is a big night in Nola. You go hard or go home, or you don't go at all. And we had gone back to the Maison du Puy. I forgot something in the room. It was pretty quiet. It was like a weeknight, not a weekend yet. And I left my travel partner, my friend, my muse, downstairs in the lobby to get more drinks. I go upstairs to the room, pretty quiet. There's nobody really in the hallway. Not scary though. Not scary, not too late at night either. Not like midnight. It's like 9 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, Central Time. And I go in the room, I get my stuff, my ID or cash or something, and I come out. And I'm walking back towards the double shafted elevator. And I turn the corner. I'm going towards the elevator to press the button to go down to the lobby. This being comes through the wall. Human, only half of him down the middle.
Oh.
8 foot tall, not of this time period. And he's smoky. He's like a smoky chalk outline. And he zaps through the wall. And again, I'm getting chills. I'm proving this is reality here. And he's walking. And he's kind of well off. He has a really big top hat, one of those 19th century bow ties, and a vest, and a white shirt and slacks. 8 foot tall. And he's strolling down. Half of him is strolling down the hallway. And I'm like just about 6 foot. So he has me by 2 feet. And I look up as I'm walking towards the elevator, and he looks down. And I'm not scared, and neither is he. And we look at each other, we acknowledge each other, we process that, we see each other in the hallway. And he walks right past me, right through the double doors. He disappears. I'm a little freaked out, a little drunk. I go downstairs. I say, Melinda, get us more drinks. I just saw a ghost in the hallway. And then we start our night out.
Yeah, I would definitely. I believe just about every New Orleans story out there, especially whenever it's
there are more.
Whenever it's
Yeah.
pertaining to spirits and ghosts, and you know how much crazy occultism and symbolism and I mean
That are
ritual
still there. That are still there. The second to last time I went, I didn't really see a lot of voodoo symbolism, but I did in 2021 at Christmas time. We had gone around Christmas for a week. Voodoo symbolism everywhere, and that doesn't scare me either. It's just another religion, right? So, um, and that excites me. That inspires me with my writing and my books. My creativity runs wild when I go to New Orleans. Um, but I've had so many experiences down there. Um, every time I go, I've seen or heard or done something that I come back with. Yeah,
I do
yeah,
love New Orleans. I could never live there, but I do love visiting because first of all, I love going into all the different, the crystal shops and the witchy shops and all of the voodoo shops and everything like that. I
yeah.
love that. I'll tell you one thing. I will never go back again for Mardi Gras. It is dangerous as all fuck for Mardi Gras. I'm not
I've
gonna do
never
it
been to
again.
Mardi Gras. No, I have been for Halloween twice. It's like a small Mardi Gras, just as fun.
Yeah.
Crazy. I went during COVID Christmas, and we went it was the crew of Krampus. We were actually almost essentially like the grand marshals of that parade. It was like a COVID parade, so that was pretty fun. um and I like living that lifestyle too, where things just work out, and it's a good feeling. Yeah, yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Well, look, I don't wanna, squeeze all of the stories out of you. We got to have you back on
If
here
you want me
again at some
back,
point.
man, you the Halloween or whatever, let me know. I got more in me.
Of course, I love the vibe. I love the stories, dude. So we'll
Yeah,
keep it coming. But
yeah.
interestingly enough, the tarot card we pulled, we always pull one tarot
I
card,
know. Yeah, yeah.
and the one card we got is the Queen of Swords.
Okay.
And so I like to read the definition of it.
Yeah.
So the feminine energy of protection, fairness, and balance when making decisions and speaking the truth is held within the Queen of Swords. Queens in tarot represent feminine energy that includes receptivity, honesty, compassion, and love. The Queen of Swords represents the elements of water and air, yet there is very little water in the card itself, just a faraway stream. This indicates that clear communication, intellect, and logic are favored over emotional outpouring. This queen is seated on a sturdy throne, welcoming anyone who seeks her counsel, yet she holds her sword of truth in front of her, making it clear that she will not hide her thoughts and opinions. This queen is wise and just. Her thoughtfully drawn conclusions are trusted by all who surround her. To remain in balance, she is open to hearing the opinions and ideas of others. Interesting. That really freakishly aligns with what you're talking about. The clear communication, the intellect, the logic.
That tracks.
I mean, that's what you're experiencing from the other side right there.
That tracks. And on this side too, because I've evolved my processes as well within my business and my life. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. So that fucking tracks.
Fucking A. All right. So the spiritual message with it, it says stand up for your beliefs and don't shy away from sharing your wisdom with others. Focus on using logic and reason rather than relying on emotional expressions, but beware of coming off as harsh in your delivery.
Yep.
All right. That's a good message.
Wow, that is spot on, my friend. Wow, you're good.
Hey, dude, it ain't me. Well, maybe it is me, but I don't know.
I mean, but
It's
like it's
subconscious
like
me.
you, but it's yeah.
It's subconscious me, higher self me. I don't know. It's all me anyway. It's all you. It's all me. It's all
It's all
everybody.
me. We finally got here tonight for a reason, right? So,
Yeah, it's all divine timing. Everything is. So,
yeah.
uh,
Wow.
Joe, if you would, could you let the initiates know where they can find you and all your great work, sir?
Yeah, wonderful. You can find me namely on Instagram, Joseph A. Federico, hashtag Joseph A. Federico or the Marketing Maven. And if you have any questions about my books, my work, my spirituality, I can talk to you about anything, even marketing. You can actually call or text me directly. I know this is a little bit out there, but 973-289-3517. I'll be available for you because of the show. So thank you.
Of course. Yeah, I love it. Well, look, I can't wait to have you back on. This is a very fun conversation. If we
This was great. Thank you so much.
don't really talk a whole lot about ghosts, which is really strange for such a show like this.
You're
But
welcome.
I love it. I love the interjection of it. It's awesome, dude. So
I'm
look,
gonna go burn my Palo Alto stick a little bit now because things have been coming in and out as we've been talking. I'm gonna clear the air before I go to bed. So
you know
yeah,
what? Before we go, I've never burned Palo Alto. I've usually just burned the sage. Do you have a preference?
stage because it smells nicer. It burns smoother. If you want like a quick cleanse, definitely the Palo Alto is like it's it's gonna take over the room and like really clear shit out quickly. I like that because it's intense, and I'm a fire sign. I'm an Aries, and I have the horns. I have the fire, but I prefer sage. It's a slower burn. Yeah,
Oh, I like it. All right. Yeah,
yeah.
I actually I love the smell of sage as well.
Or
But
if you want to clear, and have like something like perfumed, definitely like the Florida water is good too. Yeah,
okay. All right.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
and you like by using that, you feel that you're cleansing away the negative kind of premonitions maybe that you may see.
And I'm protecting myself. I am cleansing myself, and I feel more protected. I've doused the doorways in my house with that. I've doused corners. I have cleared the negative energy with that Florida water as well. Yeah. Yeah. Many
Interesting.
times. Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep that in the back of my mind. Thank you,
Yes,
Joe.
sir.
Well, look, if you want to get these shows days, if not more than a week in advance, completely commercial free, and be able to see all of everything way before everybody else does, also, and join in on the conversation on Patreon, that is the best place to be able to go and do it. Go check out patreon.com/metamystics. That link is down in the show notes as always. It's the best way to be able to support the show. We have several different tiers over there. It's the best bang for your buck for any mystical shit that you'll ever get into, unless something is free. We do $3.33 a month. I can't think of a state that is charging less than that for a gallon of gas these days. I'm just going to throw it out there. The gas is getting astronomical, not this show. Okay. I'm just throwing it out. It's always going to remain 333 at that level. And it's just always going to be that way. So come and join the community. Stop being an outcast and start being an incast with your kind of people. That's what we like to show over here. So with that being said, if Joe Federico came here and he taught you anything, it's that you don't know what you don't know. So don't just get weird.